would like to clarify what people believe that Israel paid reparations for the USS Liberty attack. Now, what happened is that only after U.S. aid to Israel was increased from $13 million in the fiscal year 1967 to $76.8 million in the fiscal year 1968 did they agree to take care of negotiations for the crew, the dead, and wounded. By the way, these payments were made with U.S. government checks in the late spring of 1968. Israel then refused to pay for the Liberty damage. The United States government then increased the aid to Israel to $121.7 million. I'll say that again, $121.7 million for the fiscal year 1969. So the new negotiations began, and Israel agreed to pay $7.6 million damages for the $40 million ship, which, by the way, was sold for less than $200,000 as scrap. But Israel did not pay as promised. No surprises there. The reason they didn't pay is that the aid to Israel was cut to $71 million for the fiscal year 1970. Even though that was still 5 times the U.S. aid of 1967. And the bill remained unpaid, and by the way, not deducted from the increased U.S. aid. So when Reagan was elected, they weren't sure what kind of friend he was to Israel, so they started negotiations again with Jimmy Carter, and then, after those negotiations, Israel agreed to pay a total of $6 million for the Liberty in 3 payments over the next 3 years. And the State Department said, okay, the book is closed on the Liberty. That was 10.5 years after Israel had agreed to pay $7.6 million. Part of that agreement was that no interest was to be paid by Israel. Well, even that agreement was not kept until 1988. Between the times that this happened, the money that Israel had been getting in aid, we had to borrow. So the bottom line is that Israel never paid a dime. The taxpayers paid the whole bill, and if you figure in the interest on the money that was given to Israel in aid, and the interest alone on the money they agreed to pay for the Liberty, no, the U.S. taxpayer paid it all. And having said that, I would appreciate it if you'd add a few of your comments. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And, we have seen this continuing pattern where the U.S. is outright giving Israel billions of dollars in direct violation of the Symington Amendment and the Glenn Act. Then the U.S. government loans additional money to Israel, and then a future Congress will simply forgive the loans. So Israel can turn around and say, we've never failed to pay back a loan. But basically the Congress just writes them off and says, we forgive this loan, we forgive that loan. It's just a constant looting of the American people on behalf of Israel. And there's no justification for it. Israel's a nuclear power. They don't need our help. They don't deserve our help.